Long guard. Did you say on guard? No, I didn't. That would be stupid. But they're kind of similar. We're going to talk about the long guard today and why I like the long guard, not only for like sparring and kind of like my fight style, but also for the streets, which I think like you should try and do both whenever you do one. Like if I'm going to use something in here, I want to be able to use it out there. But anyway, we're going to talk about all of the great things I love about a good long guard with or without gloves. But then we're also going to talk about the areas that it's not the best. The different things that you need to do to like edit it or change it for moments in time.
Perfect.
Reason number one, I can keep my opponent, my arm's distance a little bit shorter away from me, right? And especially if you're a longer guy, I'm a longer guy, I like to be able to touch and keep someone at bay, as opposed to if I have a tight guard, like let's just do this, ready? If I'm here, boom, I start to touch them way out there. If I've got a tight guard, that access that they have comes really close, okay? So obviously the distance of it and being able to keep somebody at bay is awesome because I can see things. And speaking of seeing things, I have more time to see things. Okay, so for example, I'm a decent bit away, I'm gonna throw my sock at you, right? The idea is that you had enough time to see me go like this, and then you even saw the sock come at you. Where if I was like this, and then I threw the sock, boom, it would be harder for you. Just like if you play baseball ever in your life and you see this guy go like this and they wind up and then they throw it, the closer they are to you, the way harder it is to hit that ball, especially when they're pumping out heat. When we're throwing punches at each other, we're pumping out that heat. So here is no different. If you want to keep somebody at bay, which we do want to do and be able to see things, this long guard is great for that. I can parry, my hands are out. Whether you prefer the elbows in or the elbows out is up to you. This gives you a little bit better protection of the ribs and stuff, but you can't latch on as easily. You can't parry as easily. This elbows out, easier to parry stuff, easier to see things, easier to punch because your elbows are already in the right position. Boom. Here is a little more defensive. I've got my shield out. I've got my armor, which is like everything on the outside is already out. Here I can parry a little bit more. Now you can still turn either direction. I can still turn and then go, but you kind of start off in that position already. So you decide whether you want to be more defensive, boom, boom, keeping that hand out, or if you want to be more offensive. If I'm here, I've got to turn it over first. If I'm here, it can go straight there. So I can be here on the offensive. Like I have to turn them over. It's possible, it just takes longer. When I keep a longer guard, I can keep my hips a little more sideways and get away with it because I've got so much range here and I can go much further out, which means I can stop things earlier. Where if I'm here, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Well, I guess it does. I guess people are still... Having this long guard is a really good brace, right? Because we're naturally pretty strong, locked out. I can flex everything up right here. Bang. I can tuck my chin in, roll my shoulders over, whatever it is. Also, whenever you're like out on the streets, you're not gonna see so many people who are like trying to rip out body shots. So you don't have to be worried about those elbows staying in as often. Now you should still think about it and you should still implement it in your training, but as I'm here, I'm not gonna have to worry about somebody ripping underneath. And if they do, guess what? I mean, my arms are out. If you're out in the streets, you're gonna see a lot of people who are bang, bang, and just kind of like throwing stuff out. Or they're like this, and they're trying to stay really far away. Being able to stay out here, stay composed, and have a good brace for if somebody's trying to come in hot. And then readjust. Whereas if you have a tight stance, you have to rely on your body's movement more, your foot movement more, or you're just gonna be kind of stuffed a little bit. You don't want anybody getting your space, man. This is your bubble, okay? This isn't a safe space like Taekwondo. I don't want anybody even touching the old money maker, you know what I'm saying? I want to keep a good distance and a strong one at that. Have this little elbow bend here, bop, bop, and then flex that thing, then keep it flexed. But here's the thing. As I keep this distance here, that means that my time to gain momentum to hit somebody hard is less. I have less time where I can build up that speed. Like, I have to work on really being explosive to make up for the fact that I don't get to start from here and throw this punch. It has to start from here. Ready? So here, here. They kind of feel the same, to be honest, but that could be because I'm used to it. So once you get into the idea that like it takes a little bit, you can get it there faster. It's just not going to have as much behind it. Also, thing number 2 that's not as good about it, it's like you don't get hook punches. You don't get hook punches from here. You can get like slaps, because hook punches require you to be able to really go opposite and then back into it. So go away and then back. You could like think about it as ridge hands, but as far as hook punches go, you can't really put a lot behind it. You can still throw an overhand sorta if you really get your body out and around, but at that point I would just throw a ridge hand. Ridge hands are sick. Maybe we should do a ridge hand video in the future. I love a good ridge hand.
So as you notice here, you have Conor using that long guard, and instead of throwing a hook punch, he has this uppercut option because it's a straight in option where he bends his arm just like the hook, except he's going forwards.
Also, you have to keep in mind that the closer you are to your body with your limbs, the stronger you are, okay? So if I'm strong in here, that means that I can like do flips, I can do takedowns. There's no takedowns out here. There's some sweeps, but not like that good wrestling stuff. But I mean, you got to be able to do both. You have a little more protection on the over top out here. If somebody's throwing these big shots out here, you can move a smaller distance to protect yourself. Whereas in here, you'll find yourself wanting to like meet it a little bit. And when you don't have these gloves on, there's no protection. You pretty much give yourself a helmet when you have 16-ounce gloves and you shell up like this. And it feels safe because you've got these like honking things on you. Honking things. We don't get that luxury all the time. We don't always get to be like, you know what I mean? We have to think about this long guard here, whether it's like a Muay Thai long guard or if it's like a lats forward, hands in high. I like the karate-ish, boom, elbow trying to rub the inside of the rib here, hand out further, and you can kind of look through your hands and see things. I keep my front hand forwards, and then I keep my back hand a little bit further back out here, because I do want that extra movement with the power, plus I want to be able to block over top or move it around and get the windshield wipers going. Especially with shorter opponents, I know they don't have the reach. I'll be out here and I'll be touching, bang, and throw something into it and give it my little bit of zest. As far as like the streets go, I think the long guard's the move. I think being able to keep somebody at bay and out here. Now mind you, con number whatever. If you have a long guard, somebody has the option to latch onto you faster. Well, at least onto your limbs. Now, mind you, that ability to latch onto your limbs most likely will not be a problem because if somebody's trying to fight you in the streets, they're probably not trained. But if you get a good guy who can latch onto your wrist and then move that onto the elbow and then pull it around and get on your back, that's a problem, but most likely they don't know how to do that if they're fighting you outside of a gym. We talked about the protection of this out here, but it also is a little bit easier for this to get tired and this to fall down some. And then you turn into like this movement here. We want to make sure we can expend our energy the right way. This getting tired and then having to move this more will make this tired, and it becomes like a slippery slope of you getting gassed. So you have to understand how to like be able to use your movement so you're only blocking when you have to, and then once you do have to and you have to throw punches, you have that in your arm still. So you have to understand how to distribute everything correctly. You have to be able to pull your body backwards and move around. Also, one of the things I like about the long guard is as I pull back, I can use it as a counterbalance. So if I just pull my body backwards, you tend to like want to move head first, which is an issue. You don't want to do that, obviously. So you keep those arms out, kind of keeps you from, because what a lot of people do, especially when they're new, is when something comes at their head, they'll pull their head back first, or they'll like, And then parrying, we talked about earlier how somebody can latch onto your hands. Well, guess what, bub? I can get to your hands too. If I know that you're being defensive and we're in a fight, and I can get my hand on one of your hands and pull it to the opposite side and get that free range over here, I'm gonna use it. And having that ability to always kind of like touch and feel and see what happens is an extra sense that you get other than just seeing and reacting. Being able to go, I want that over there. I know he's letting this front hand hang out a little bit further, bang, or bang, is a great option. Being able to touch and feel, add that extra sense to the game, perfecto, you know what I mean? You need that. And the last thing that we're gonna talk about that's a little unfortunate, boxing circular movement around this bag, here. I can swivel faster when the arms are in tight and I can put more behind it. If I'm further out, obviously gonna take longer because I'm further out. That circle's bigger. Another issue that you might find, especially if you have to get like into the nitty-gritty stuff, but that means that there's just time for application. There's gonna be times where I'm out here and I can dart in and come back out. There's also gonna be times where I'm up close and personal and thinking circles. It's all about timing. You have to understand how to do both. But here's the reasons that I like the long guard. On guard. Learn how to keep your chest forward as you're moving. It'll help you out moving forwards and backwards a lot. Fencing's cool, but it's only good for like 2 pokes. And then you have to back out. Whereas if you can learn how to keep your chest forwards, you can move forwards and backwards longer. But anyway, I digress. Long guard, I hope it helped. Hope it gives you some insight on what's cool and what's not cool and what sucks and what's the opposite of sucks. Blows? That also is bad. Wait. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this and it gave you any help, make sure you subscribe so you can see more stuff like this that I post. Thanks so much for watching. If you don't subscribe, I'll hit you with this long guard. Bow, woo, pow, pow, woo. Okay, nice takedown there. Same concept that we saw earlier, except now it's like a shoulder drag, sort of. He grabs him by the arm, pulls the body's momentum forwards while leaving the feet behind, which means the feet have to go up and over.